Hey guys, Andre here with the Wings Mobile Detailing Podcast. Today we're talking to detailing, actually auto detailing. So we covered business of detailing and actually detailing. Some equipments that you guys really don't need when starting or working on your detailing business. I've actually came across guys a bunch of detailers, obviously great professionals out there, as I'm sure you guys are, great professionals, and have gone through all the different types of tools, from the Mytee water extractor, those steamers, the most expensive steamer, the $900 steamer, to the McGulloch, whatever that's called, $170 steamer. But you guys probably have seen worked with the equipments, the Turnitor. But there are some detailers who haven't worked using them and are curious. Perhaps you're curious to see if you really need them, or perhaps you're looking to buy these equipments and you're not sure, what do I need? What if I get a car that I need to shampoo and I really need to do heavy shampoo? Do I really need to spend money on a Mytee or a $700 machine? And I will give you the answers for that based on my experience, my opinion, and what you guys can acquire to do a professional job without spending too much money. Or if you guys are willing to spend a lot of money, even then, there are some machines that are just not only not very reliable, but really not useful, and you can replace. So stay with the intro real quick. I'm gonna make this quick and jump right into the podcast.
Welcome to the Wings Mobile Detailing Business and Automotive Podcast, the only podcast that will guide you on how to start and grow six-figure companies. As our team expand from one business location to worldwide domination, you will get step-by-step insights from a millennial franchisor and franchise owner with your host, Andre Mezzalera.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for listening for my podcast. The past few podcasts that we did, one was with an interview. The other one was onto the business, how to run a detailing business. So subscribe if you guys are really looking to start and continue to grow your detailing business. But it's been a while since I have actually covered a podcast in the actual detailing aspects, the technical part of detailing, not the detailing business. And I guess this is going to be an important podcast for even detailers out there. Subscribe to this podcast. Check out our YouTube channel, guys, as well, because there I go in detail. I have on every Thursday, I post a video there of detailing business roundup, which I cover in the board. I have the whiteboard, and I cover everything on how to grow your detailing business. We're now into multiple locations, also franchising. Now, let's jump right into it, guys. The steamer. There's steamers, there's Mytee water extractor, pressure washer, buffer. Do you need all those equipments? Obviously you need a buffer to buff a car, but the brand, do you need a great buffer, to buff a car? And do you need an expensive one? So for example, on the buffer, before we get to the other parts, the other ones, I've actually used, and you guys know how the Rupes is one of the most popular brand out there for buffers. It's a great buffer, obviously. Some people love it. A lot of people love it. I think I'm the minority here who prefers the Griot's Garage dual action buffer. Actually, I may be the minority. And not because of price. I really do prefer the Griot's Garage dual action buffer. Believe it or not. I know you guys might hate me for this, but I'm not saying the Rupes is not great. The difference is that, the Rupes is also cost more. I'm glad that I actually came to prefer the Griot's Garage, because that thing is like $120, where the Rupes, it can get up to $500-$600. So I got lucky on that. It's awesome when we prefer to use the less expensive stuff. But also, if I do like the more expensive one, I don't retain any time into purchasing it. If I'm gonna use the equipment for my business, if it's gonna help me grow, help me be more efficient, I'm definitely gonna spend more money, for an equipment. Especially if I'm using it. And the buffer is one of those things who I got lucky that I prefer the less expensive one. I used the Rupes before. I was actually working one of the first time. It was years ago when I was working on an Audi R8. Matter of fact, there's photos of the Audi R8. I was working in one of my locations in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And we're doing a car there. It was like a 12-hour job to do a 3-stage correction. We ended up doing like a 4 or 5 stages. But actually, we were doing it. We were testing it out. We were making sure the paint would come out perfect. The client didn't care at that time that we cut through a lot of clear coat, because as you guys know, we can make the car look perfect, obviously, right? But the more we buff, the more we're cutting through the paint and minimizing the amount of clear coat. So we have to find a medium there. So it has nothing to do with the Rupes, but that's where that was the first time that I was using the Rupes dual action buffer. I think it was the first rotation. Maybe all Rupes are first rotation or not. No, I could be wrong. I don't know, guys. I'm not too familiar with the Rupes, but I am with how to use it. I used it multiple times. I don't know. I feel like because of the position, if you guys are starting out detailing, you really don't need to spend all that money on a Rupes. Start slow, step by step, guys. Get the garage, which I recommend, for a starting buffer, or forever maybe. If you want to do a 3-stage compound using that buffer, great. It works for me. So, and you guys might like it. So it's better that you guys start off using a less expensive one. Then, as you get more profit from your business, if you want to invest in a Rupes and try out, see how that feels, because it's a lot more sturdier. It feels more well built, I guess, more attached. The Rupes. The Rupes does feel better. You can tell it's more quality. And some people get more control using the Rupes buffer. So, but it's not something that you really need, So I was doing this Audi R8. We were in like 4 detailers working on that car, because we definitely wanted to get it perfect, which we did. There are some pictures on Instagram. If you guys check out Wings Mobile Detailing. And we did. We got it perfect, man. I switched it out to my regular garage buffer, so I started using that one. And no, there's some other ones, guys. The steamer. When it comes to steamer, if you're gonna use a steamer to shampoo cars, I love it. That's how the process that I use. I think some people actually use, obviously some detailers use the water extractor, or both, a steamer and water extractor, or the Tornator. You could also use the Tornator to also shampoo. The Tornator is actually a brand, but the brand is so good that we start calling that the Tornator. But that's actually compressed air with a liquid comes out, right, in a compressed air gun. So you can clean that up really well. Some people use that to shampoo. Going back, let's go with the steamer now. I use the McGulloch steamer, right? The McGulloch is less than $200. And the small version, they have the big version. I prefer the small version because, I can do I don't need a big one. And there are other brands, there that other brand of steamer that costs $600-$700, right? A lot of detailers know about that one. Just by the price, you probably can tell which one I'm talking about. It's like a gray one. It's like a silver metal looking one, heavy duty industrial looking steamer, right? It's the same size as a McGulloch. It's not big, but it's definitely stronger and it lasts longer. But that's a $700 steamer. And if you're starting out, obviously you may think, I really have to start off with a McGulloch steamer. Guys, I've been in business for years now, and I still use the McGulloch, And if you're thinking that, I don't know, maybe I want to start off my business and already start off spending out, do I need to spend that much money, the $700 with the most expensive steamer? No, you don't. You can get great results, do the shampoo. The other one's more powerful, but the McGulloch is also powerful enough to where you can do a great job. You wrap a towel around the triangle head, the attachment head, wrap out a towel or a bonnet, a 3-inch bonnet, and you scrub that on the carpet. It's going to come out great. Put some shampoo in there. It's going to come out great, guys. After vacuuming, obviously. So, that's a great one. And yeah, the steamer works great. Another method that you can use to shampoo is with the water extractor. The hot water extractor, the Mytee hot water extractor. I believe that thing is starting now at $500-$600 with inflation. Now those things are going up in price a little bit, but I think the Mytee is $500 or $600. Guys, I also don't use the Mytee hot water extractor. I bought it before, and I have a story to tell, my experience with it. But the way I shampoo is the old-fashioned way. I spray. It's not old-fashioned, but the way I do the shampoo is with the steamer. Spray the shampoo, scrub it with a brush, and steam it. And the Mytee, you can use the Mytee as a hot water extractor to throw water. If you want to, I guess it cleans better, right, when you're extracting water, because then you can soak up the carpets with a lot more shampoo. Not soak it, but use a lot more shampoo, a lot more foam, and scrub it heavy with the excess shampoo that you use in there. Not too much so that it doesn't bubble up too much, and then it's going to be hard to rinse, because you also want to get, balance out shampoo and water. And then you use the hot water extractor to rinse it, because it's going to throw hot water in there with the soap, because you use a lot of soap, because you use a lot of shampoo, degreaser, or whatever you use to shampoo. And then you need that hot water. You can use the hot water from the Mytee and then vacuum it out, because that's what it is. The Mytee hot water extractor throws hot water, and it's a vacuum. It's not a powerful vacuum. That's the problem, guys. And I'm going to tell you my story that I had with this particular Mytee water extractor, hot water extractor. I bought it before, and I bought the small version that I paid $350 at the time, but that was years ago, so don't, disregard the pricing here. That's why it's cheaper. I think it's more expensive now. So I paid around that amount of money, the small Mytee water extractor, and I would shampoo, right? I would spray shampoo there, and then I was like, and why did I decide to buy that if the method I was using with the steamer was great, already working out great? I decided to buy that because I thought, I was like, I always wanted to improve services. I was like, let's see if it's worth it. I don't mind spending the money if it's going to, come out better. Obviously, at first, if you guys are limited on budget, you can. It's okay for you to think about, okay, I can't afford this right now. It's not smart for me to buy this right now. So, but if you have the means, which is if you have the money, then you buy it. So I was in need. I wanted to improve the service. That's the reason I bought, because I thought that if I were to use a lot more shampoo and scrub more, then the service would come out better. But if I use more shampoo, then just drying with a microfiber towel won't do it, right? I needed to rinse. And before, I used to use more shampoo, scrub it, and get the hose, close it. I wouldn't soak it, just put more water in there so I can get the water out, right? But then I needed to extract that water because it would be a lot of water. So at the end of the day, I decided, let me buy the Mytee. It throws the water and it sucks off the water. I started using that machine. I bought it, throwing water in there. I was like, okay, I'm sucking off the water. In a matter of 2 weeks or 3, that thing started breaking on me. I got pissed. That thing started to break on me. Every time I would press the trigger to throw the water, and I know that didn't just happen with me. The vacuum would suck the water, and the vacuum lost its strength. It wasn't as powerful. And I used the correct shampoo, guys. It was foaming up. I know you cannot use shampoo that foams up in that machine, so I know, it could have been my fault a little bit for breaking the machine slightly, but even before, the vacuum extraction of that machine wasn't powerful. I'm used to using the actual rigid vacuum, the small version of rigid vacuum, which is powerful and strong. So, and I'm used to using that. I was like, okay, this is a water extractor. I expect the vacuum to be not as strong, but even more, even more strong than the regular vacuum, because it's called a water extractor. But it wasn't. It was weaker. Especially if you're pulling water, you want more strength, but it was weaker. And it was spitting off water back into the fabric. You know those brown stains that you're extracting, and then that thing would spill off water. That was terrible. I started kicking that machine. I was nervous that day, man. So that didn't work. And then to clean it up, and I tried many times. And then to clean it up, I had to. I'm a mobile detailer, so we had to throw the water off from the machine on the driveway, and it would make a mess. And then clean it up the inside so that thing doesn't get dirty and smelly. So I decided to stop using the machine and continue with the steamer, which still works great, the way I shampoo with the steamer. By the way, I do have a tutorial video on YouTube. If you guys check out Wings Mobile Detailing there. And now I got a call from a client. I had a shop by then. By that time, I had a shop. We're mainly mobile, obviously, but I also had a shop. By that time, I had a client who needed their car to be extracted because it was flooded. So obviously, you can't shampoo with the steamer. You gotta get the water out. And I decided to use a wet vacuum. The regular vacuum, the rigid 4 or 5 gallon rigid vacuum, that small rigid vacuum that you buy on Home Depot. And you can make that wet. You just change the inside of the filter and put the wet filter in it, and it becomes a wet vacuum, meaning you can extract the water. And I used that, in that case, because I needed to extract the water. And that worked great, man. That thing, how powerful the rigid vacuum is. And to suck off the water, that works amazing. And the rigid vacuum is like $90 or so. So, obviously if you buy the expensive Mytee hot water extractor, there's another con. I really don't like that thing, man. If you're to compare, because the rigid vacuum is also very small, you can use the crevice tool because it's a regular vacuum and suck off the water on the sides. You can spray shampoo in there, scrub it, and then suck off the water with if you really need a water extractor, which I don't have it in my vans, but if you really do need a water extractor, I really like the rigid vacuum. I have one in your shop, and because you can also use the small tool, right? That's another pro of the rigid, where the Mytee, you have the huge piece, right? It's the huge piece that only works. That's what it comes with. Obviously, you can buy the small crevice tool for the Mytee, but then you spend another over $100 just on that small piece, and it's not that great. And the suction sucks in a bad way. So I'll decide. Okay, when I need it, I'm gonna have a rigid wet vacuum here when I need it, and another vacuum for the regular vacuum, because I didn't want to be changing the filter, so I just made that one the wet vacuum. And that's how you guys can do. You guys really, at first, you guys really don't need a water extractor. If you're thinking about having the steamer, you really don't need the water extractor to shampoo carpets or seats. Using the steamer works great. If you decide to have it because you were a detailer, like, man, at least I want to be able to extract the water if I need to. Or if the car is super soiled on stains, very, extremely bad, then it's good to, instead of using the hot steamer, because the steamer is also hot, instead of using the hot steamer to kill the bacteria and remove the stains with the shampoo, and instead of that, if you want to use an extractor, if you think that you want to have it, buy it. But I recommend the rigid one, and you really don't need to spend all that money on something that to me is worse. But they probably, I don't know if they did make the more expensive Mytee. I'm comparing to the one I had, right? It was a $350 water extractor. I'm comparing to that one. And I'm not comparing to me using it wrong. I want to be fair. I felt like the suction wasn't as good before I started to use the other shampoo, which I shouldn't have. That was before. All right? And the tools just are not good. You have to clean it up, and that makes a mess as well. You have to clean up the rigid as well. And now, how about the hot water, right? Because that's a hot water extractor. Well, you got the steamer. If you get a good, or if you don't have the steamer, you have a good shampoo with you to scrub and remove the stains with a good shampoo. All you need is then, if you need to extract all the extra water, you need an extractor. You don't need the hot water with it. So pretty much the rigid vacuum will do. I don't think it's worth to spend hundreds of dollars more to have the hot water, which you really don't need. So that's something to think about, guys, if you're looking into in the future or so to acquire one of those machines. Now it comes. Let's go with the pressure washer. That pressure washer, you guys can get gas or electric pressure washer. I only use electric pressure washer. I know the gas ones usually they run to a higher psi. You can get some electric pressure washer that is also high psi, but usually you find that in gas. I guess it's more of a personal matter, right? Because obviously you don't want to, you guys know, as detailers, you don't want to use too high of a psi on a car because you might, strip off the paint. So you got to be careful with that. But you guys as a professional detailers, being careful with that, you already understand. So the difference between gas pressure washer and electric, I use electric because I don't have to carry the gasoline with me to put it in there. I feel like I would have less problems with the engine breaking down because on a gas pressure washer, you have the motor, you have all that stuff, oil, all that stuff that goes inside the motor that can break, and then it's more expensive to fix, and it's noisy. So that's the reason. That's my personal reason. That's the reason I personally decided to go with a gas pressure washer. And I buy the ones I use is the Rupes. It's the small ones, about $150 pressure washer. I love that thing, man. You can find that at Home Depot. Or Greenworks. You can find a Greenworks the same size, same price, but it's from a different brand that you can find on Lowe's. But the Ryobi brand you can find at Home Depot or online on Amazon. So I use that, and that works great. The only thing is it breaks a lot in the winter. If I have water freeze inside that thing, it's gonna break. But do you need an expensive pressure washer? As I said, the one I use is about $150. Now with the buffer on the R8, we covered that. So guys, there are these things. There are tools, brushes, the products you guys use, products you don't need. Like I recorded other podcasts before on the detailing. If you really need a lot of pads, to when we use a dual action buffer to buff a car, the buffing pads. And I record their podcast if we really need a ton of different colors. We have 3, and we have an exact method that we use to do a full paint correction, 3-stage between, compound and polish of paint correction, using 3 different types of pads. First, we start with the microfiber, and then the first we start with the microfiber cutting pad with a compound from Maguire's, and then the second we do this, and the third we use the other pad. So we just posted a video on that combination of pads and products that you guys can buy. We posted a video on YouTube, so check it out under Wings Mobile Detailing. It's a tutorial, but at the beginning of my business, I thought I needed a bunch of pads for different cars and a bunch of different products, bunch of different compounds. A compound is a compound, right? You really don't need that. You don't need a bunch. A compound is a compound. One can be more has more viscosity than the other. The other can be more, like more watery or so, more lube in there. But it'll do the same job, and I found a combination that it works great for most cars. And when I say most, it's because I really am avoiding to say all cars, because some people may think I'm generalizing. Screw it. For all cars, I use it for all cars, and I get great results for all cars that I've done. I used it this step. So subscribe to that YouTube channel, guys. And I hope this was helpful if you're starting to grow your detailing business. We have much more podcasts coming. Subscribe. Thank you very much. Hope it was helpful.